All right, the recording has started, and this is the May 20th Crossplane community meeting. So we had a pretty cool event with KubeCon and the Crossplane Community Day that we'll talk more about a little bit later on in the agenda today. But we did not meet last time because of that, and it was really cool to have everybody there and kind of get together a little bit for that event. But let's start today here with the 1.3 milestone sort of planning and status effort. We are kind of in the right in the middle, I suppose, of the milestone life cycle here for 1.3. So the release date for 1.3 is scheduled for about the end of June. So a little bit over 1 month from now, maybe 5 weeks or so. And so we have a fair amount of time to get some features in, get some additions to a number of different resources, et cetera. So I wanted to kind of, as we normally do here, get a sense of things that people might want to take on for the 1.3 milestone. We just kind of started getting the board together recently here. So this board, the 1.3 specific board, is a little lacking right now, but we have some items from the 1.2 board that we kind of started treating as a roadmap a little bit with some big ticket, big feature items that could also be added on to the 1.3 board. So Dan wasn't able to make it here today, but he did get the board updated with a number of issues that he thinks are important for 1.3. So those are all those ones here with Dan's face on it are some bugs, mostly bugs that have been causing some friction in adoption in amongst the community. Some of them are around the package manager for like handling dependencies better, and then also some of the lifecycle handling for upgrading between the different versions of a provider or a configuration to kind of handle those a little bit more smoothly. So that'll be a focus area for Dan, is around mostly around package manager stuff and dependencies. I know, Muvaf, you were on the call also. Do you want to kind of talk about what you might want to be focusing on for 1.3 before we go into broader items as well too?
I was on mute. I need to take a quick pass through the issues, but I believe most of my work will be on provider AWS for the next 1 or 2 weeks.
Got it. Are there any like PRs or additions there of interest that you want to call out here in this meeting?
There is the work webhook PR, design PR that I was about to open. So that probably will make it to 1.3. But yeah. Let me add it to the project.
Yeah, that sounds good. Did the design for that Muafak get closed, like as in completed? Because I know that in 1.2 we had kind of a design for webhooks that would allow us to do validation and better user experience, for creating objects. Did that get all the way closed?
No, it was in draft phase. So I'm gonna open that, but it's pretty much it pretty much has consensus on it. Yeah, that one.
Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you want to add that to the project board for 1.3, because that's definitely like a big feature area to invest in there that I think will make a lot of user experience for creating and objects and getting feedback about the early on feedback about their validity and such will be really helpful for the community, I think. Do I need to, it said that you added a item here. Do I have to refresh the board to get it?
I think it comes in automatically, but I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, here it is at the bottom here. And so this one's in progress though, right, Moff?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, let's go ahead and throw it to that column there. Cool, so I think we will definitely need to follow up to continue populating this board here, the 1.3 board, because we're starting with a clean slate after the 1.2 board here. So I think though that it's still very pretty clear in my mind. And it's always very welcome to hear from folks in the community about like what their priorities are as well too. But these top 5 features here in the proposed column on the 1.2 board, I think we'll migrate them over to 1.3 as well too, because I think they're kind of the highest priority, most interesting features that are on the roadmap that I don't know, I don't, all 5 will not be in 1.3, but those are definitely ones we continue to get feedback on and requests for. So kind of having them be front and center and being part of the discussion here and part of the status that we're taking as we continue to work on 1.3, I think it's going to be really important. So composition revisions, formalizing the XRM model, cross-resource references, observe only resources as well too, and then custom compositions. I think that I continue to find that being fairly important for being able to kind of unlock non-standard or unique custom scenarios for compositions that kind of like allows the capabilities of using composition to really kind of expand pretty easily. So I think that one still is really, really interesting. So we should get all 5 of these onto the 1.3 board as well to kind of keep them going in a ongoing roadmap sort of fashion. Does anybody want to chime in with tickets, items, features, etc., that are important to them? Unlocking it, scenarios that you might be blocked on or features you're waiting on? I also wanted to add 1973, the multi-source patch. There was? Yeah, that's the one. Was Hassan on the call? I think you were. You had written a configuration recently that used this particular PR here, right, Hassan?
Yeah, that's correct.
Awesome, sweet. So we have something out there in the wild that's already depending on this one, which definitely makes it reasonable.
Yeah, I also read a couple of more folks commenting in the PR that they are using this feature, and I think it's already well tested, even it's an open PR.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've added that to the 1.3 board as well too.
Yeah, I believe that PR is both on my mind and Nick's mind to review and merge it to mainline. It's pretty important.
Awesome. I like that it has been getting some testing work there too, kind of getting baked a little bit as well too. So that's definitely a good thing. Cool. Yeah, so this is always an ongoing discussion. So as we are fleshing out the 1.3 board and folks are taking on items either through contributions or reviewing pull requests or whatever it may be, we can continue to update this board and keep the status up to date there as the milestone is ongoing as well too. So anything's important that is important to people, just holler in Slack, let people know there, and we can kind of continue to flesh this board out. Right, and as previously stated too, there's about 5 weeks or so until the 1.3 release is scheduled to go out at the end of June. So that's what we are heading towards as the next milestone for Crossplane. All right, then we can go ahead and move on to the community topics section. So there has been a couple of cool live streams recently. Since the last time that we met, Dan met with Marcus and I think David as well too from Equinix, and they did a Provider Equinix live stream that was kind of fleshing out some of the resources in that provider and kind of getting that one bootstrapped and filled out. So I have the link here to the live stream there in the agenda meeting notes here. Then also Dan and Grant did a live stream earlier this week on a distribution of Crossplane that is now generally available, the UXP distribution. So it's Upbound's universal Crossplane. And so that's an interesting live stream to kind of see some of the functionality there and the scenarios that are enabled there. So I'll drop the link to that as well too in the agenda doc if anybody wants to click on that and check that as well too. Dan has had a FlexV2 live stream coming around for a while that I think is still a scheduling thing because we want to do it with the Weaveworks folks and some of the Flex maintainers. So I think that one is still in the hopper and ready to come out when we get that scheduled with them. I don't know. Wasn't able to sync up with Dan to see if there's a date for it. There may be a date now, but that's still coming down the pipeline. Cool. So incubation for the Crossplane project, we have done everything on our side. All the due diligence, all the presentations. We've done a number of end user interviews as well too. That the technical oversight committee is meeting with folks that have adopted Crossplane in production scenarios and asking them some questions and kind of learning more about their scenarios. So thanks to everybody who has participated in those end user interviews and ones that are still going to as well too. That's definitely really helpful to help the technical oversight committee to see the maturity and dependency that folks have on the Crossplane project and how it's important for adopters there. So there's many comments and support that's being demonstrated on the pull request to the TOC repo. There's 50 happy people have expressed some interest there on this PR and getting Crossplane into incubation. Lots of folks adding comments as well too. So that's all been really helpful for everybody supporting, showing their support around this effort to move to incubation. It's, as I said, everything that is in our hands has been done, and the technical oversight committee is just doing those interviews with the end users to get the final information they need to feel comfortable to get to a vote and make that happen there. So no action items on our side that I'm aware of, and hopefully we'll be able to get that to the finish line with the TOC. So the LFX mentorship program is the 12-week period is coming to an end this week or next week. Rahul, I think you're on the call. Do you want to go ahead and give us an update about what you're working on in your final week or two here for the mentorship program?
Yeah, sure. So last week only we committed and got provided pushed and finally ready to use in the Crossplane control repo. And now we will be using the same provider to test the composition engine, and I am started working on it. In fact, before this meeting, we discussed some of the points. And in this provider, NoOp, we had a different approach of using managed reconciler. We just created a new reconciler due to some reasons that we discussed. And that was a good thing that we went on. The design talk is there in the design folder, which needs some events though. But yeah, to get an idea of the provider right now, we can go to that. But most probably in this last week, yes, I will be working on the composition test as Jared just pointed out. Yeah, that will be great.
I'd like to be muted. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so that'll be great to as the mentorship program is wrapping up for this semester, quarter. I don't know exactly what they call it now, session. That's going to be great to get the core Crossplane integration tests and their the composition engine exercising this provider here and under some well-known scenarios to make sure that we've got some integration coverage and some assurances or safeguards from regressions and composition, as we're going forward there with more additions and contributions to the code base there. So that's going to be really helpful to improve our quality levels over time, Rahul. So thanks for all the efforts on that on this as part of the mentorship program this spring. So we had mentioned before that we are rolling out a conformance or a certification program for Crossplane. So we have done a lot of work, and Nick did a really, really good effort on getting some automation for this in place as well too. So we have in the CNCF organization, we have this Crossplane Conformance repository. And so we've kind of fleshed this out with the definition of the conformance program, some of the reasoning and thinking behind it, the instructions for how to get certified and run all the conformance suites and everything like that. So for both the distributions of Crossplane as well as providers, you will be able to get certified and demonstrate that you are compliant with the expectations of what is a provider in Crossplane and what is a distribution in Crossplane. So there's some consistency across any of those releases in the ecosystem. This is everything is in place now from the definition of the program and the test suite and all that. So it's now ready for a vote by the governing board of the CNCF. So that is the next phase there to get approval to roll that out and be an official CNCF conformance test. But I think everything's pretty much defined there and all in place for that vote to occur. Nick, do you have anything you want to add to that with kind of your perspective on building out the conformance suite and stuff?
No, if anyone has any providers that they would like to be conformant or distributions of Crossplane, please raise an issue on the CNCF conformance repo, and I've got a to-do I think in there already in the Crossplane conformance repo to work with Rahul, because I'm using an old version of provider not that I wrote months ago. I'd like to replace it with the official one now that that's landed in those conformance tests. But yeah, other than that, good to go.
Yeah, and I added a link here to the test suite, the automation suite that Nick wrote for defining what is a conformance provider, et cetera. So that's linked in the agenda document as well too. And great work on that, Nick. I thought that was really cool to kind of get that automation in place there. And then as Nick mentioned as well too, we have a link here to issues in the CNCF repository, where providers that are interested in getting certified can express that interest here while the program is being finalized and voted on. You can kind of express your interest around being a certified provider as soon as the program is fully approved and rolled out. So we've got Azure and AWS and Equinix and then IBM Cloud as well too have all expressed interest in that and becoming a certified provider. There's certainly room for more folks that want to get involved in that. Great. And so, yeah, that's I had a couple agenda items on here too to talk about, our experiences at KubeCon and the Crossplane Community Day a couple weeks ago. So for KubeCon itself, I just wanted to say that the office hours session was really, really incredible. I didn't know what to expect in terms of attendees there because it wasn't in the KubeCon EU platform. You had to RSVP and you had to go to a different site and kind of it was a bit disjointed because it wasn't embedded into the platform of the KubeCon conference itself. But we had almost 200 people showed up there, and we got a ton of great questions and interaction engagement there. So I found that to be one of the most rewarding experiences I had at KubeCon EU, was seeing how much excitement and engagement there was from people wanting to learn more about Crossplane and get some of their questions answered, and some pretty insightful questions as well too. It was really, really fun. So thank you everybody who attended that and then also helped answer a lot of questions. Aaron was there and Muafik, and I think Hassan Alper were there as well too. So that was and Dan obviously as well too. That was really, really cool to see, and Stephen as well too. Everyone who contributed to that was really awesome. It was definitely a great team effort there. So I wanted to see if anybody had any thoughts or anything to share about KubeCon that they learned or something that was relevant or an experience they had. So if anybody had anything they want to share, feel free to let us know. Hey, Aaron or Stephen, they're a part of the office hours. Anything from you all?
I mean, there were a lot of great questions. I think there were a lot of things around compositions, like how building them and doing self-service. So I thought that was very informative. Yeah. And there was a ton of excitement too. I think we were answering questions for like the full hour just from lots of people.
Yeah, definitely. There's a multi-person job there. There was not one person could not have answered all those questions. Cool.
I don't
Yeah,
have
and then
much to
yeah,
add
go
other than I had a great time, and it's wonderful to meet the community and to see so many people swarming and trying to get and getting familiar with Crossplane, because I find it incredibly exciting.
right on. Yeah, it was great to have you there. And yeah, and then the community day itself, I thought that was a great experience as well too. So on day 0 co-located event, we had the community day sessions where we had a number of speakers and lightning talks and all sorts of stuff that was really, really rewarding and informative. There are a couple folks on the call here that did talks and presented during that. So thank you very much for the efforts that you all put forth to speak and share your knowledge and experiences to the rest of the community. We already mentioned before the call started about the popularity of the DeLorean's index session on replacing Terraform. So that was awesome, and really glad to see that. And there is on YouTube here, there is a full playlist now of all the talks. So if you missed any of them, you can check out that YouTube playlist there and watch all of the recordings there, or any of the ones that you're interested in or resonate with you the most. And then I think that the KubeCon the KubeCon hamster wheel continues to spin, and there's a call for proposals that is finishing up, that closes on Sunday night. So if folks want or want to submit anything to the main KubeCon conference, just a reminder that is due on Sunday, I think like 11:59 p.m. I think Pacific time. So you basically have the couple days here in the week, and then the full weekend to get your CFP or your proposal to speak at the next KubeCon, which does have an in-person component to it, is the expectation there in Los Angeles. So that might be a bit of an incentive for folks to submit talks there to be able to go somewhere and do something if it is safe and reasonable at that time, of course. Cool. So that is all the agenda items that I had on here today. Is there anything else that's on folks' minds that they wanted to bring up or discuss as part of the project here while we have a quorum here?
I can ask for help on my PRs.
Hey, Steve. Yeah, of course. Were there any particular ones, Steve, that you're looking for feedback on, or maybe waiting for some responses on?
Really, the Lambda one and the SDK v2. And I'll tell you kind of what my pain point is. When adding the new providers, the PRs are enormous. They're like huge, and everyone who's reviewed them has been super helpful, and the feedback is helpful, and the tips are helpful. It's just a lot of times difficult to both communicate over PR comments when they're like so huge, and on the Lambda one, I just kind of need more help of like what do I need to do, and that gets hard to communicate over. That type of like pure programming is difficult over like PR comments. And then on the SDK v2, there were some changes merged into master, and the model for S3 changed in the newer like the newer release. And there's a ton of unit tests that, like, if you don't understand how to map the S3, all the S3 classes from the Crossplane classes to the SDK classes, it gets really confusing. So there were a lot of merge conflicts from all the stuff merged into master, and it just takes a ton of research to go through and figure out what needs to get done to update all the classes and tests and mappings and all that stuff. Again, another ginormous PR that just it becomes very unwieldy.
Yeah, and so I think a couple things there is that I think and Moffick, you can speak for yourself, of course, but I know that you're going to be getting a bit of cycles here to be looking into some of the AWS PRs and make some progress on some of those there. So I assume that Steve's PRs there would be ones that we could kind of get some eyes on and try to help get to the finish line. But do correct me if I'm wrong on that, Muaf.
Yes, definitely. Honestly, we've been busy with Universal Crossplane over the recent weeks. So now that it's released, I'll have more time to go with them and help you out.
You have been amazing, and thank you so much, and I appreciate it. It would be easier to if there's some way to help not over PR comments. It's just easier, like over some sort of like voice to say, oh yeah, this is what you need to do, and like I'll fully admit sometimes I just like don't understand. So that type of explaining is like, okay, yeah, now I get it. Okay, yes, this makes sense. Now I understand what you need to do. So
gotcha. I can schedule a meeting with you and go over like all the PRs that you got, so that like we can move faster there.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that sounds really good. And yeah, Moffick, thanks for making some time to do that. That Steve, you've been a really good contributor, with like getting some important things landed in and making a lot of progress there. So yeah, definitely thanks for your efforts a lot, in your contributions that you're making there. And I'm glad we can kind of maybe make some time here to get together and make some progress in a more synchronous fashion as well too. So I'm very grateful to both of you all for making the time and effort to do that, and it helps the project and the ecosystem out as a whole. So thanks for doing that. Cool. Anything else from folks before we can go ahead and adjourn? All right. Well, cool. Thanks for everybody joining in, and thanks for all the efforts with the community day and the releases and everything that everybody's doing here to participate in the community. Really appreciate all of it from everybody. And we will talk on Slack or maybe in person with doing a synchronous meeting for some PRs soon too. But yeah, good to see everybody. We'll see you all soon.